back to the VET S.O.S show, brought to you by the Who You Know Network. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. Mark, I hope you're ready. I'm so excited we finally got Dr. Destinee coming on the show today. She's so much fun to talk to, just has a great story, does amazing things for our community. This is just going to be great. I'm so excited about this. As always, I'm here with my partner, Mark. Mark, how you doing today?
Man, I couldn't be better. Man, it's beautiful outside. Finally here in Texas, we're getting a little reprieve. It's actually, you know, we get our 2 weeks of fall, so I can't complain. And I am ready too. I'm ready to hear what Dr. Destinee's got to share with us. I know it's going to be bomb after bomb. So boom, I'm going to give her one right there.
You're making the bar. You're setting the bar too high for me, y'all. Like.
All right. So we want to continue to thank those who are pairing their channels with us and broadcasting our podcast out as original content on their social media channels. Please continue to do that. If you don't know how to do it, send us hashtag pairing and we will tell you how to do it. So we're here with Dr. Destinee Prete. She's been affiliated with the military her whole life. Mother, brother, father, husband, and herself have all served and are still serving. She's a true believer in service beyond the uniform and has worked several jobs in the veteran transition space. She even used her PhD in industrial and organizational psychology to study the veteran workforce and transition. She's a certified veteran developmental coach and very active mentor, logging thousands of hours. She is the president and co-founder of We2AreVets, an organization focused on honoring, empowering, and recognizing women veterans. She is also CEO of PG Strategies Group. She has found ways to tie in her field study in industrial and organizational psychology and the military connected communities together. She is a military spouse, the mother of 3 very active boys that we just learned, and is a huge Wonder Woman fan. Dr. Destinee, how are you doing today?
Nice. Good. Well, now that we have that all of the way, I think we can just end the episode, you know?
Here she is.
There you are. Done. Goodbye.
Man, you are doing a ton. And, you know, just to have that military family background, I think that's awesome, right? Yeah. Just to have all of those serve. And actually, Sean and I were talking yesterday because he thought somebody hacked our account, but I had made a little bit of a post on our VET S.O.S page. And I just think it's great. Like you guys, the whole entire family has been involved. That's fantastic. What a great experience. Tell us a little bit about your nonprofit, We2AreVets. What are you doing there? What's some of the work that you're helping with? How are you helping that community?
Yeah. So, you know, just wanted to throw it out there first. I love all veterans the same. So some people come to me and they're like, you know, this We2AreVets, what are you doing, Destinee? You're separating the genders and all of that. And so, no, look, there's a lot of reason behind that. But I wanted to say that because I really do care a lot about our veteran community as a whole. And that is why We2AreVets is something that exists right now. So We2AreVets is the nonprofit. The mission is to honor, empower, and recognize women veterans. And so there are a lot of organizations out there kind of doing a lot of things, right? And so my job here is not to replicate any of those services and those things that other organizations are doing, but really to create a collaborative community of support. So a lot of women will reach out to me with needs or things that, you know, very, very relevant needs at the time. And so I'll triage these case management stuff. So they come to me, they'll need something, and then I usually outsource to the other resources. So that's one thing I do with the women veteran community is kind of do the warm handover to other organizations. The second thing that I am working on is giving education and information to organizations and entities that work with the women veteran community, because there are a lot of things out there that are just, you know, we're misunderstood, we're underrepresented and things like that. And a lot of women don't actually self-identify as veterans. And so one of the things that we're trying to aim to do is to honor and recognize women veterans. And so it's a lot of moving pieces. I've kind of had to not put things in the side burner, but I had to for a little while with it. However, I'm so excited because we just were able to hire a program manager for We2AreVets, and we're going to be bringing on a training and development manager to help work on some of the stuff in the background that I have going on with We2AreVets. So I'm really excited about the future of it and what we're going to be able to do.
That's awesome.
Man, I think that's great. Number one, I don't think it's separating, right? Because it's such a different, and I know you've got, it's with your coaching and some of the psychological, right, aspects of it. It's different for women, I think, because you also have that additional layer of sexism in the workplace, right? Especially in corporate America. So it's not, and it's in the military too, still. Totally, right? But,
yeah.
But I think it's a little more subversive though, right? In the corporate world. And so to be able to get out of the military and then go into a corporate environment where you might not be able to identify it as easily, but it still happened. I think that's a great help that you're providing.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And a lot of people, when they do come to me and say things like that, I try to say that the idea is to make it an inclusive environment and to have, to create those equitable outcomes as much as we can. Obviously, we have a long way to go for a lot of things. But really, if women, for example, aren't even self-identifying as veterans, do you think they're using the resources? Do you think that they're, signing that they're a veteran in their workplace? Maybe not. And so you might not even know that they're quote unquote in the ranks in your organization, but they are. And they want to be, and they deserve to be. And there are a lot of really amazing competencies, knowledge, skills, abilities, all of that come along with veteran community, but particularly women veterans, because they have gone through a lot of adversity and hardship and challenge. And so they come on the other side really strong in a good way. Mm-hmm. And so organizations should leverage that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I just want to give you just an applause, because I think I saw on your LinkedIn, you're date to present, you have 7 things that I'm like, oh my god. And she's a mom of 3, oh my goodness.
What are you doing out there? I'm all the things,
Now you know why she just hired a program manager.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
Hey, that is one thing I do know how to do, is delegate. So if something comes up, I know how to spread the wealth and the love. Trust me on that. And you can ask my kids.
The good thing is they're getting closer to that full delegation age where, it's I expect all the chores to be done. So.
Oh yeah, and they're starting to cook for themselves now. I mean, by cooking, I mean putting ramen in the microwave. But we're getting closer.
So
we're getting closer.
So Mark, the first time I think we were connected before this event, but I think the first time I actually got to talk to Destinee was the same night that I met Marina at the Vets Industry event, where it was, I think myself and Brian were the only 2 guys in there for God knows how long, and they wanted to pick on me.
I remember you told me about that.
But it was a fantastic event, and I think We2AreVets came out or officially launched shortly after that. I don't think it was quite launched before that. So just amazing things going on there, and I was glad that Vets Industry was able to really be a partner in that piece and bring that forward. And I think they have a military spouse mixer this weekend, I think. And I know they're getting ready for another diversity one coming up, I believe, as well. So definitely doing great things there. You just hired a program manager. Do you have anything on the horizon? Is there something you're already aiming for?
Well, I do. We'll be bringing in several more people for We2AreVets in particular. We're going to be bringing in some social media people, some content experts. Interestingly enough, one of the, Sean probably knows this from some of the interactions I have, but I like to think way outside the box on things, and I like to do things a little bit different. And so the program manager and all of these other positions I've actually hired through different partnerships that I have. So basically, I'm using a federal work study program through a college to be able to create an alliance with them. Then their students actually get federal work study money, and it works really well, because now I have people that I can literally bring onto the team, give them experience, allow them to have, you know, translatable skill sets that go from, you know, while they're in college to the workforce. And then I also get to benefit because I can start to spread the mission further. So it's a win-win-win. And so I'm hoping that other colleges will kind of tack on to this and not use their federal work study students just to be, you know, like most of them, if you go to real colleges, are doing what? They're cashiers at the bookstore and things like that. Some of them are, you know, student teachers, but in this case, they're partnering with nonprofit organizations. So there might be opportunity out there for other, you know, our other large nonprofits to be able to do the same.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely love hearing that. So I will tell you, Mark, one of the things that I love to do is just sort of scan through LinkedIn, and every once in a while, it happens, I would say maybe once a quarter, Destinee will all of a sudden open her calendar. And it's like this big event on LinkedIn, and everybody trying to get on her Veterati calendar. I was lucky to get in one time, but it's something. It's almost a hobby. You know, you start scrolling, and you're just looking to see when is she going to post that next one.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah,
huge demand.
Yeah, some people do actually message me and say, like, can you let me know ahead of time? I'm like, no, just, you know, just like all the other people say, follow the, you know, ring the bell and follow me.
Boom.
There you go.
It's the Dr. Destinee Black Friday sales. You know, she's
right.
I mean,
my kids even have to get on my calendar now. You know, it's just one of those things. You have to schedule time in to see Bob.
There you go.
What are some of the things I'm curious about? Like, so your PhD, right?
Yeah.
And what are some of the things your studies have found as you're analyzing workforce and transition in the veteran community?
Yeah. So throughout my PhD, I started my doctorate right as I was getting out of the military. So the same day that I decided to leave the military, I decided to sign up to get my PhD. And so I wanted something that I had, because at the time I was also pregnant with my third. I had twin babies who were home. My husband was active duty. So I was like, I need something for me. I can't just go from the military, very career focused, to like just being straight up stay-at-home mom and not have anything on the horizon, because to me that was like terrifying. So I was crazy enough to sign up for my doctorate. And the first couple of years of my doctorate, I was very challenged in ways because I couldn't figure out how to connect with my classmates, because the field of IO, psychology is still very misunderstood. And so I was trying to explain what this field was. I didn't even know how I fit into to it. And then when I started realizing that all of the experiences that I kind of had from the military were very translatable to, you know, the workforce, everything from training, hiring, you know, everything could be kind of, you know, pivoted towards a business like focus. And so I started to connect the dots that way. So when I did that, I started taking all of the opportunities for research in my classes to study the veteran transition experience, because not only was it personal to me, but it was something that I could connect the dots with. And it became this really, like, school felt very task oriented when the first couple of years, like, okay, gotta get it done. But the last 3 years of my doctorate were incredibly like fueled with passion and excitement, because I was able to study a community that I really cared about. And so that's when I decided to do my dissertation on it was focused on the women veterans, but on the women veteran transition experience. And that's actually what pushed me into creating the We2AreVets nonprofit organization. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just for a second, let's revisit the opening part of that, where she said she had just gotten out of the military. She was a military spouse, had twin babies, and was pregnant with her third, and needed something for herself to do. What?
I mean, I know I'm crazy, right? No, but it's true. Like, it's hard to go from just being like, I mean, I was so career focused and so, you know, mission focused. And now, yes, my new mission was to be a mom and a stay-at-home mom, and I couldn't be more excited. But I had this huge fear that doing that would almost kind of like remove my skill sets from me in some weird way. And so I was like, let me keep myself current, let me keep my brain working. And then when I went for my first job interview, I don't know if I've said this in other podcasts and stuff, but when I showed up for my first job interview, it was actually for a career counselor for the Army's Soldier Transition Assistance Program. And when I showed up, I made a joke. I was like, well, thanks for having me. You know, I only know how to speak toddler. So I hope, like, because I only spoke toddler for 4 years, you know, post-military. Yeah. So, but it kind of went, you know, it connected the dots for the person who was interviewing me, because she's like, I totally understand so many, not just women veterans, but, you know, military spouses are having that same challenge coming back into the workforce, doing interviews, having only, you know, spent the last 4 or 5 years at home with their toddlers or their kids. And so it's a challenge. So for me, I needed something to propel me forward, you know, in that way.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And it shows not only your drive, but your value to our community, and how much you care about it. And I think anybody who's a parent at all, whether you're a stay-at-home mother or working mother or the father or whatever, we all start to talk toddler.
Yes.
Boom, I'll drop on that.
Yeah, you're like, I need to get out and get some interaction with some people. This isn't working anymore.
I'm still
telling people.
I'm still talking toddler. My 4-year-old, you know, sometimes I'm like, what'd you say?
Yeah. Or telling people you got to go to the potty, you know, that kind of stuff in the public, you know? So no, but it's true. It's like it's like leaving it's like in the military, you have that same kind of language, you know, and then whenever you become a parent, you start to pick up another language. And then when you go into the workforce, you pick up another language. And so for me, I really, truly stayed home for 4 years, like with just my children. And I was like speaking all kinds of toddlers. I knew all the Disney songs. I knew everything that was playing. You know, they were always in my head. I was, you know, singing Paw Patrol songs. And so I was like, all right, how am I going to take this and transform this mindset into like schoolwork? And it was all with CEOs and really accomplished professionals, and then go find a job, ? Okay, that's going to be interesting. But it worked out because people can relate to that, right? So
yeah, that's huge, hugely relatable. PG Strategies Group, right? So doing great work there. The coaching side of it, that's really, I think, sticks out to me. You know, you've got your Coach for Veterans site, www.coachforveterans.com. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing there with businesses, and then how that translates over into helping the military community?
Yeah, so I've been a certified veteran developmental coach, CVDC, for 5 years now, going on 6. And I have coached thousands of service members, veterans, spouses, you know, you name it, even non-veterans, and particularly business leaders, on how to communicate and stuff with different kinds of people, right? So I've been coaching for, like I said, 5 years. And it's interesting because in the beginning, it felt like, you know, I felt almost like guilty for being a coach in this way, because it was so natural for me, right? It's like, this is my most natural setting. It's my most natural way to help people. But what I realized is whenever I put the coach hat on, truly, the way that I talk to people changes, because I start to open questions in a way that really pulls back layers and gives people an opportunity to really not only open up and be vulnerable, but then to close that vulnerability back with accountability and, you know, solution-focused conversation. And so over the last several years, the way that I've coached has not only transformed from an individual, so it started individual to individual, then I started doing group coaching. So I've done like a professional identity workshop in the past, for example. And then recently, I just picked up an opportunity to work with a really large company to not only coach their veterans, because a lot of their veteran people are in leadership positions. And there's actually challenges that a lot of these individuals are having because they're communicating to not only people that don't necessarily understand their language, but also they don't understand the generational differences. And so there's a lot of miscommunication, misunderstanding. And so I'm working with organizations to not only coach, but to create coaching toolkits for their veteran community as well. So that way that almost like basically think of them as like coaching workshops and coaching dialogue discussion, stuff like that. So it's transformed over the years. I'm really excited where it's going. And then in addition, I'm picking up a lot of people who are interested in also being a coach in this space. So I coach coaches as well. And so it's just a really enjoyable space to be in right now. And people are becoming more open to coaching than they have in the past. Yeah.
Are you familiar with Project Relo?
Not sure.
There's an organization out of Michigan, and they work with corporations, CEOs, and C-suite and executives on hiring and retaining military and veterans. So they actually bring people up to Michigan and have this boot camp for CEOs.
Awesome.
To go through that experience. So I'll connect you with some of the folks over there.
Yeah, I would love that. See, look, we're connecting resources here. I love this.
There you go.
It's all about who you know.
That's right.
Oh, man.
I know. Well, thank you for having me today. I mean, you know, thanks for going with it. The doorbell, since we've been talking, the doorbell has rang twice. Kids have ran across with their underwear on. Husbands tried to quietly go up and down the stairs with a dog barking. So here we are, right? We could just laugh about it because this is reality.
Honestly, I haven't heard any of that. Maybe I've just been so engrossed in what you're saying that I haven't. I mean, none of that has gotten through to me.
My puppy hasn't done it yet, but typically about it after I have this door shut for an hour, we'll start banging her head against it to let me know, hey, you know, you're not going to keep me out. So
that's right.
I just got to work on getting my 4-year-old to stop pulling his pants down and going wherever he's at outside. That's what I got to work on.
That is real life. I love this.
Yeah. This has had to have been the absolutely fastest session we've ever done. It feels like we just started.
Yeah.
And we're already at the end. I don't know what happened here. So I'm going to tell you right now that we're going to have to book you again for another show. Maybe we'll bring you on for 100. So
next time I'll bring the panda head with the kids, and then we'll make it really interesting here.
Definitely. How do you prefer people reach out to you? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to go to your LinkedIn profile? What's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, the best way is honestly probably through LinkedIn. I'm most active on there. So to catch me on LinkedIn. If you're not on there, you can reach out to me on my website, and I will get back to you as well.
Excellent, guys.
Prepare for the Easter egg hunts for when she posts her availability for Veterati.
Oh, that's right. You guys, you have to connect with Dr. Destinee. I mean, she is involved in so many things that can help you, help your search. Just launch you into your next successful position. Guys, connect with Dr. Destinee Prete.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Any parting words you want to leave with the audience?
Just like the last person said before me, network, network, network.
Absolutely. As always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being on the podcast, Dr. Destinee. Always great talking with you. Thank you to the audience for tuning in and pairing your channels. Remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S. Lifeline.
I'm going to mute my mic and